Hello everyone. Today I brought some more concepts in the field of sociolinguistics, and that are dialects, regional dialects, and isoglosses. So in this lecture I'll be focusing on isoglosses. If the lecture does not become very lengthy, we might also cover dialects and regional dialects. And if it becomes very lengthy, then we might skip the concept of dialects and regional dialects for next lecture. So let's learn what are isoglosses. Regional dialects and dialectology. Some basic concept, and then we will shift towards isoglosses. Geography is a key factor in identifying regional dialects. So whenever we are talking about regional dialects, so geography involves there. In one region might be one variety of languages spoken, in another region might be another variety of the same language is spoken. So geography is a key factor in identifying regional dialects within a large language like English. Like we have British English, we have American English, we have Indian English. Okay, these are a different region. And even if we talk about in Pakistani context, and where I am living, this part of Peshawar Valley, so I speak Yusufzai dialect of Pashto language. And if you go toward the south, toward the north, so you will find other variety of Pashto language. So every language has varieties. Some has more and some has less. So what is dialectology? Dialectology studies these variation with dialect geography. So it is the study to dialectology studies, or it is the study to study these variation with dialect geography. Fine. So mapping out differences in vocabulary or pronunciation across regions. So it is the task of a dialectologist to identify that from where to where, from this spot A till B, okay, where people are living, they have same pronunciation and they use certain vocabulary for a certain item, and as we move from B to C, so we find some differences in pronunciation, in vocabulary, as well as in structure. So this is the task of a dialectology or dialectologist. So they map out differences in vocabulary or pronunciation across region. So when we talk about pronunciation, that is called differences in accent. When we talk about vocabulary and grammar, so we are referring to a dialect. Fine. So for example, pail versus bucket, or different pronunciation of the word farm. So we see these are different vocabulary, okay, pail or bucket, used for the same item. But in one region, people will call it pail, okay, used for carrying water. And in another region, people call it bucket. Fine. Similarly, that farm has also different pronunciation, where some will say farm, while some will say farm, right? So vowel sound changes. Mapping boundaries with isoglosses. So we map this boundary, we draw an imaginary line, and we say that this side of the people, of this side of the line, people pronouncing such words with this manner, and this side of the boundary, people pronouncing these words with this manner. This side of the boundary, or this side of this line, people call this item with this vocabulary, and this side of this line, people call this item with the different vocabulary. So isoglosses, what is isogloss? Isogloss mark boundaries on maps where different language items are used. They draw a line. Okay, as I told you that you are going from A to B, B to C, C to D, E, F, G, H, I, J. Okay, different regions are there. So they draw a line. For example, A to B, they draw a line. They will say, and then from B we have a C. They say, okay, that from here A to B, people living in this region A to B, they pronounce these words in such a way, and they call these item with these words. And this line, this side of the line where C and D come, people pronounce these words with a different manner, and they call these item, or they use different words for the similar item. So example, area in England where come has different vowel sound. Okay, some will use one vowel sound, some will use another vowel sound for this the word come, because we have a vowel sound. Some might say come, some might say com, okay, and some might use another vowel for this. Example of isogloss, if it is found, for example, that the vast majority of information in one area, say, because research is conducted, okay, according to this research, say that they carry things home from the store in a paper bag. Remember, using the word paper bag. Fine. Vast majority of informants, you see that the vast majority of informant in one area say that they carry things home from the store in a paper bag. They use word paper bag. While the majority in another area say they use a paper sack. So for the similar item, majority of people in one region, they use a word paper bag for carrying things from store, while in another area majority of people, they use a word paper sack for the same item when they carry things from the store. Then it is usually possible to draw a line across a map separating the two areas. So you draw a line here, right? You draw a line here, and you say that the people who are living this side of the line, they are using the word paper bag when they bring or they carry like stuff, okay, or they carry things from the store. And this line of the store, people who are living here, they use the word paper sack when they bring or they carry things from the store. So this is usually okay. Then it is usually possible to draw a line across a map and separating the two area. And as shown on the accompanying illustration, I'll show you a map now. This line is called the isogloss. I'll show you now. And represents a boundary between the areas with regard to that one particular linguistic item. Regard only one particular item, they draw a line. They say, here we have a line where people use paper bag, and here people use paper sack. And again they will draw a line, okay, here people use one, here use another word. Sometimes there may be overlapping. One line is here, one might be here. Fine. Now see this map. This is, okay, let me make it a little bit, zoom in. So you can see this, the sign of this star, okay, it is used for paper bag. And you can see the sign of this plus, it is used for paper sack. Now this region of the people, because there are several states, okay, here we have North Dakota, here we have Minnesota, here we have South Dakota, here we have, okay, different regions of United States of America. So you can see that people who are living in these regions, they are using the word paper bag when they carry things from the store. And people who are living here, they are using the word paper sack when they are carrying things from the store. So a line is drawn here. You can see this line. This is called isogloss. See, isogloss. So one isogloss might be here, okay? One isogloss might be here if one side of the people, another side of the people are using different words for the same item, or they are pronouncing a word differently. Zoom out. Now, if two items like pail in the north and bucket in the south show a similar pattern, an isogloss can be drawn on the map. If the north, you see, if the two items like pail, we have two items, pail in the north and bucket in the south show a similar pattern. Similar thing, an isogloss can be drawn on the map. When several isoglosses overlap, they form a dialect boundary. When there are several isogloss for different item, it forms a dialect boundary. Now, in the example, a circle shows where paper bag is used and a plus sign shows where paper sack is used. You saw here. Paper bag used here, paper sack used here. So, a plus sign where the paper sack is used, the broken line between these area represent an isogloss and a line with other linguistic feature. So this broken line you can see, this is known as isogloss. Based on this, we see that the upper Midwest of the USA has a northern dialect. Okay, upper Midwest, including parts of Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, and northern Iowa, and the rest of Iowa and the Nebraska show Midland dialect characteristics with differences in pronunciation and vocabulary. Now you can see here on this page, here we have northern dialect and here we have Midland as we discuss here. Okay, upper Midwest of the USA has a northern dialect. Okay, and here we have where it is and Midland dialect. So northern dialect and Midland dialect, where for the word taught, we use the vowel sound O, rounded lips, taught, taught. And the Midland, they will pronounce the word with taught, taught and taught. And here we have, you can see roof, like in book, roof. And here they will say roof, a standard one, roof. Here we see, they will say creek, northern, okay, they will say creek, and they will say creek. They will say grassy, and Midland will say grassy, grassy and grassy. Northern will say paper bag, Midland will say paper sack, they will say pail, they will say bucket, they will say kerosene, they will say coil oil, they will say slippery, they will say slick, they will say get sick, they will say take sick. So not just differences are based on pronunciation, but also based on vocabulary. So pronunciation based, there is called accent, and this is called then dialect. And overall this is called dialect, both. So if an American English male speaker pronounce the word grassy and ask for a bucket to carry water, then he is not likely to have grown up and spent most of his life in Minnesota. Okay, because Minnesota, that won't be in the north side. That would be somewhere we can see that is in, just wait. Okay, Minnesota is in the north. That won't be in the south then. Fine. Not in this one, Minnesota. While making this general claim, we shouldn't forget that although the characteristic form listed here were found in the speech of a large percentage of those interviewed in the dialect survey, they won't necessarily be used by all speakers currently living in this region, because people who are living in the north, okay, they will say midland, sorry, not north midland, they will say bucket. If I'm not making mistake, let me check it where we see. Okay, that is grassy and bucket. We can see here grassy, that is midland, not north, and bucket is also midland. Midland and midland. Northland and northland. Fine. Okay, so studying regional dialect and dialectology. Regional dialect, these are variation in language that exists within a target language community like English in the United States, which has many regional dialects. So what are regional dialects? These are variation in language that exists within a large language community like English in the United States, which has many regional dialects. Of course it has. Dialectology, the field of study, looks at how language change across different regions, focusing on variation in words, pronunciation, and grammar. This is called dialectology, and the person is called dialectologist. Example: in some area of the US, people say pail, while other they say bucket. No, for the same object. Similarly, form may be pronounced differently depending on the region. Now, purpose of dialectology: by mapping these differences, dialectologists can show how language varies geographically and how unique dialect develop over time. Mapping language boundaries with isogloss, it might be repetition of this, okay?